Okay, we are live. We're recording session 29, and we're going to have a little opening scene tonight, something a little different because I don't normally do these, but we're going to start off with a something like a ventilation shaft, a round cylindrical ventilation shaft as our camera zooms through it, and we begin to notice this sort of disgusting red webbing kind of filling in this area. It gets thicker as we move along until this ventilation shaft opens up into something of a room, like an air conditioner handler room, that sort of thing. Maybe there's a big fan on the wall moving really slow. And in this room, there's all of this red webbing dripping down. And among it, like a scene from a movie, you see several Aeon guards wrapped up almost cocoon-like in this webbing. Many of them have their mouths covered. And we zoom across the faces of these guards, just nameless faces, until we come across one whose hair is tumbling out from beneath his helmet, and several strands of it are a familiar magenta color. His mouth is not webbed, and you realize that this is Geary, as he looked like an Aeon guard last you saw him. He stirs awake as his eyes open, and he looks across the room, trying to make sense of what he's seeing as his vision returns to focus. And there's a creature, a large worm he can almost make out in the dark. He calls out to it, "Help, please." The creature ignores him. It's doing something. He can't tell what it is. It's something spinning in its arms. If it has arms, he's not sure. Around him, he notices all of these other Aslanti soldiers, Aslanti's guardmen from inside of this prison. Not all of them have webs on their mouths, but it looks like they're going to get them, because this creature seems to be reproducing. He calls out again to it. Still, it doesn't reply. His hands are bound beneath this webbing, but he's able to reach into his pocket, where he finds a familiar shape, a rectangular cardboard shape. It's a card, and he grabs it and struggles to remove it from his pocket, and as he does so, he feels it turn to dust in his hand. And he calls to this creature again, "Please help me." And it spins around and looks at him. And that's where we leave off with Geary.
Susan didn't want to draw cards from the deck. He may live.
With good reason.
The card that he drew, it allows him to request aid in a hopeless situation. So that's what he's doing. Then we cut back to you guys, all of you, blasting through the drift. I don't know, Susan, if you're free to talk now. But we're going to cut back to you guys.
For a quick second, but...
We'll cut back to you guys all the same. And you're blasting through the drift. You're on your way back to Outpost Z. You've got these 3 prisoners that you saved in the back of the ship recovering. You have Sedona, who is asleep, probably in the captain's quarters, Geary's old room. And you were all sitting on the bridge. You all have your stations. Aurora is on the captain's chair, and it is dead quiet. You guys have been traveling for at least a day through this open space in the drift here, and I kind of wanted to get a feel where you're all at mentally right now. What who wants to break that silence?
So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
So my guy is just gonna be sitting there at the console, just kind of going through the computer and this and that. After everything got transferred over to Aurora and all that, and then I'm gonna stop and like look at everyone and be like, "Does anyone have a keepsake from Geary, or did he give anyone anything before we got shoved through the door?"
Yes. Geary shoved a couple of things from his pockets into two people's hands. I gave Diara my laser microphone.
Yep.
And all my medical kits, because I had 4. And I gave Aurora my static arc pistol. That's a D6. And the motion detector badge, which was the first piece of loot that we found in the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously he's going to be like, well, that doesn't really prove anything. There is some plus side about all this. If we can find the right stuff, we can at least call the bounty off him. Beep bop boop bop. And he goes back to typing on the computer, trying to figure out what he can do about it.
I'm curious about where Zat's mind is about all of this.
Casey?
Zatz is just sitting wherever he can find a seat, waiting to get off this ship.
What is Zat's motivation?
He just wanted to be free from the base. I mean, he has no ties to this group.
He doesn't have any ties to this group, but what does he want? I'm curious, as just the GM, like what does he want in life?
To be independent of the hive mind.
Interesting. Zat is an interesting character. You guys should dig into that guy.
But I mean, he doesn't know Gary, so he has no feelings towards him. All he knows is y'all came in here and told him to follow y'all, and he would get off of it, get out of the prison, and now he's waiting to get off of your ship.
What goes through his mind about plans when he gets off the ship? Like, you guys are going to obviously land at an outpost at some point, right? He knows that much.
So
what's he going to do when you get there?
So Zaz is a part of a group of mercenaries, to like a better terms, that is completely against the hive mind. So what they do is they steal hatchlings and they raise them to be themselves. He was a hatchling that was stolen, so he wants to get back to his group.
But it also occurs to Zat at this point that the Aslanti Empire, should they take this rune drive technology, maybe he's only heard about it in passing so far, and use that against the Pact Worlds, it's only a matter of time before they destroy your race.
Right.
But
he's not, like, it's really weird when you get into it. Like, his race is destroyed. They're not destroyed, but they're completely opposite from everything that they are. So you have two sets. You have like this one set that works like actual termites, ants, to where there's a queen and a scouts and all these other things, and they all do exactly whatever the main mind says do. And then there's other ones that have broken off of that, and they just relish being able to make their own choices. And that's really like all he wants to do is make his own choices and be himself. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense to me. But you say he's a mercenary sect that's trying to save the young ones, the eggs, the hatchlings, from this hive mind.
Well, that's what he was before he got caught, I guess.
Right. So he would have a vested interest in protecting his species.
He does.
Okay. I just want to know where he's at mentally. I'm also curious about where Diara is mentally, because Aurora has just taken control of the ship. You know, her friend is now in charge of the ship, and originally they had planned to have their own ship so they could leave.
Yeah, Diara's just kind of assessing the situation at the moment. She's not sure. she's more go with the flow, see where things lead.
It's fair. How committed do you think she is to stopping the Aslanti from this attaining this warp drive, figuring out this thing?
I'm pretty committed.
All right. I would check in with Susan, but I feel like she's busy.
Nope, I'm here.
Well, if you're busy, I can go to Zanza.
So, after being in the drift for a bit and we're kind of steady on autopilot for a little while, I disappear into the captain's quarters and I'm kind of looking around. And I notice that there is just a very small amount of hot pink dye left from when he last colored himself.
Mhm.
And I'm going to take just a little lock of hair by my left ear and I'm going to dye it hot pink.
Like that.
Yaw.
Trying to
that.
process his loss as the medical person on the ship, dealing with not being able to save a fellow crewman, and being a little daunted by the now appointed role as captain, when before I've just been the pilot and medical and trying to keep things running, but always having someone hired to help with those tough calls.
I like to think that maybe you find some captain's logs. Maybe Geary had recorded a little bit,
Mhm.
As you guys went along, talking about your mission, talking about you guys, saying positive things, Maybe that's on there. K2, just concerned about yourself over here?
So, at least for my character, he's just more like, well, shit, thinking it could have been him or whatnot, being stuck there. And at this point, he's just more or less, well, we got to do what we were assigned to do. Otherwise, I'm going to end up back in prison.
For
And
fancy
I'm
bike riding.
Yeah, fancy bike riding. And he's sure as shit now not going to let them get away with what they did.
Fair. What, I got to touch on this. What is going through his mind? I'm curious about really everybody, but there's still a bounty on you because someone named Zolan or Levestra, who is the leader of this entire operation about this warp drive, is after you. And you don't know why. So what do you think about that?
I think with my character, he'd be more confused of like what was in his past that he did that he didn't know that is screwing with him now, and is it the reason for his just ungodly bad luck? And more or less trying to come up with contingencies if they come after him, so what happened to Geary doesn't happen to the rest of everyone else.
I was making plans for the what if situations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good because as your captain is in the other room, maybe perusing some of the captain's logs, a warning flashes up on the screen. Maybe the one in front of Zat. Maybe he's sitting at the comm station. The radar is going off, and computer comes on. Captain, just talking to you, Aurora, out there in the captain's cabin by yourself. No one else can hear this.
I'm going to hear it and I'm going to jet back to the room.
Okay.
What's going on?
We're receiving a distress signal, and just outside of drift space along the way here, we could approach it within 15 minutes.
Distress signal from where?
It seems to be possibly a wrecked ship. Would you like to proceed?
Do we hear this?
Well, she's in the captain's room. Looking
Oh,
at
okay,
some
never mind.
No, I ran back.
Oh, well, that's right. And then Zat has it like blinking on his computer, but she's getting the notification from him and she runs back over to the bridge. Okay, yeah, you're all hearing it. Sorry, I was confused about my setting there. Everybody's hearing it. Do we proceed to examine this wreckage?
I'm gonna look around and be like, well, I thought we got to dump off Mr. Bug here, and do we really want to take on something with all the cap or other prisoners we're supposed to deliver?
Do we?
How close are we to this? Can we see it anywhere if we try to get a visual?
Not really, because you're in the drift. However, you can scan it if Zat wants to scan it.
Can you do that?
Yeah. So let me pull up the ship, and do I have to roll for a scan?
Yeah, just do a computer's check. I want to see what you get on this.
Okay. Let me pull that up real quick. Computers.
All right. A 30. You're able to tell the name of the ship is Warspite. It is a Gorgon destroyer frame variant called the Warspite. Do you want to tell everybody that?
Yep, I relayed the information.
Okay. You all recognize the name of this ship because you've scanned it once before. This is the ship piloted by Victus and his crew.
Hmm. Well, that changes it. Victor's helped us once. Might need to help him out now.
He might be able to help you with your bounty situation.
And like I said before, maybe he can take care of the other one.
You guys up for a pit stop?
I would point out that, especially since Geary shapeshifted, you would find like his normal identification and clothing and, you know, various knickknacks from him, you know, in his quarters. Probably enough to prove that I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, do we approach? Captain?
Approach with caution.
Shields up. Red alert. Yeah. You guys hear the engines firing. Boom, boom, boom. You come out of the drift. And through the front of the ship, you can see what used to be the Warspite. You were probably just scanning a transponder that was left over floating in space because there are pieces of this ship blown across the sky. It is in pieces.
Oof.
You scan for life. You don't see much on the ship. You can see like bedrooms floating through space, you know, like wide open. But somewhere in the distance, a very faint signal comes across, and something is alive, though you can't believe how. And as you approach, you can magnify. I would say you could magnify your viewfinder screen here, and you're going to see a very familiar rat folk strapped to a chair with a helmet on, floating through space unconscious. What do you want to do?
Do we have any kind of tractor beam? Can we get...
Yeah, I'd say you probably have something you can pull them in with.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get them on here.
Okay. I think Zat or maybe K2 fires up the little computer system, and
Yep.
tractor beam goes off. It's not like a huge one, right? But it's enough. It can pull him in and bring him in through the cargo hatch, the airlock, and floats into the bay. And then as the air returns to the room and repressurizes, it falls to the ground with a loud thud. And you have Victus laying there.
I'm gonna approach him cautiously with my hand on the gun and walk up and then tap on his helmet and say, "Are you not dead yet?"
There's no response from Victus.
All right. Then what I'm gonna do is You said he was chained to the chair or like strapped to it?
He's strapped to it. It's not chained. He's just strapped to it like he was sitting in it when it exploded.
Okay. I'm gonna first check him over to see if there's any kind of like transponder that's still on him and that, so I can shut it off.
Nothing on him. The only transponder would have been floating in space.
I guess I'll yell at the captain. Is there anything out in space there that we can grab that's worthwhile? Otherwise, we need to get the hell out of here so nothing else finds us.
You guys can
Zach,
see
can you
him.
do another scan?
You can scan the wreckage with the 17. Okay. Yeah, but most of this stuff is just destroyed. Whatever cargo he had on this ship is long gone, and all you've got is wreckage left behind.
Let's tell the
let's
captain,
get
let's
outta
get
here
that
then.
GTFO.
All right, you guys. So yeah, basically, you guys stop in, tractor beam this rat onto your ship, and boom, you're back into the drift again.
Okay, I'm going to then check over Victus, one for injuries if I can, since he's out cold, and then just see what he's got on him in case he's got intel, weapons, surprises for me.
Okay.
So
Can
I cast a spell?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
I want to cast Psychokinetic Hand and poke him a couple of times.
Okay. Zach. Okay. K2 is kneeled down. He's looking over Victus. He's in the cargo bay, right? So Aurora and Diara up in the bridge, and Zach comes down to the cargo bay, and he uses his psychokinetic hand to kind of poke this body, maybe without realizing it. Maybe he's never seen the technology before. He hits a button that opens Victus's helmet, and when he does so, he gasps for air and looks around, and then falls unconscious again. He's very much alive.
Zach screams, "Zombie!"
I'll look over him. No. He's okay. He's only mostly dead.
Mostly dead is different from all dead.
Yes.
You see, mostly dead is kind of alive.
Kind of alive.
He's got his like a little laser pistol on his hip, pretty standard thing that he would carry with him. So I assume you would disarm him.
Yeah, I'm gonna take anything that I find as like a communicator, paperwork, documents, anything that's on him that's just not his clothes, and put it off to the side.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, well, I'll give it to Z and tell him give it to the captain. And then I'm gonna pick him up and go to our. Do we even have a medical bay?
I don't think. Do you, Jeremy, have a medical bay on the ship?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Then I'm going to take him to the medical bay and then proceed to strap him to the table and then hook him up to whatever medical equipment to check on him.
Okay. As you carry him over there, Zach goes off into the bridge and he hands these papers over to Aurora and stuff, and whatever he's got on him. He doesn't really have any papers, but he's got like a data pad. He's got a cred stick. Just simple stuff he would have had as if he were just flying the ship,
As I'm walking to them, can I go through the data pad?
Yeah, you can look at the data pad.
Cool. Do I find anything interesting?
Yeah, it's unlocked, and you're just thumbing through it, and maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to you. But there is a bit of information on there about Ulavestra. There's some scans of what appear to be this warp drive that everybody's talking about. There's an issue because you guys all know, except for Zach, you guys all know that he wasn't going to come into Atlantis space, and yet here he is, and you're not really sure why or what he was trying to do. It doesn't really say that on the pad, but you give this stuff to Aurora, there's not much really of value outside of his money if you want to steal it from him.
Yes, I want to steal the money. How much money?
He's got a 350 cred stick. But what happens in the back?
Cost of saving his life.
There you go. Just pocket that. K2 takes him, carries him off into the med bay, and as he sets him down on the table, Victus comes around again and grabs K2's arm. And it's not a really hard grab. It's more of a shock and a surprise, and he's looking up at K2, and he says, Ulivestra. Ulivestra.
I'm gonna say, you're being rescued. Stop, stop resisting.
No,
And I'll
you don't
strap him to the
understand.
table.
He says, you don't get it. Ulivestra is your father.
Would I know who Univestra is?
Yeah, Ulivestra is the person who's in charge of this entire operation that's got the bounty on your head.
Ah, okay. I didn't recognize the name. I'm just gonna stare at him and continue to strap him to the table and be like, "You got to be delirious right now."
Yeah, his head falls back again. He's just like not resisting with you.
And I'll hook him up to some medical equipment. Beep, bop, boop.
You got his vitals going.
I'm just gonna be like, anything else? Any other bombshell or wild story you want to drop on me too? In your delusion. Who killed the president?
He doesn't seem to be responsive anymore.
I'll tap him in the forehead.
You might have to come back later because he's unconscious. Sedona is currently in the captain's quarters, sleeping off.
I'm gonna
recharging.
tell the computer to record everything happening in this room and keep a video on him. Alert me if he wakes up.
Affirmative. So you have him in there. You have Sedona in the captain's chamber, shut down, recovering, and you have the 3 prisoners sharing a room, also recovering because they were pretty beat up after you got them out of the prison. You guys are continuing through the drift. Now he said, Ulivestra is your father. Do you want to share that with anybody else, or are we just going to play that close to the vest?
For now, I'm not gonna say anything because I think he's more delusional and he hit his head, and I'm gonna get a better answer out of him later because obviously I'm
Okay.
gonna process going, I've never met this dude, so what the hell kind of a situation. And then it confused me more that this guy's got this giant bounty on me and he's supposed to be my father. So then my character's more or less going to think, what the hell did I do to my dad to piss him off so much? And I'm just going to head back and I'm going to go knock on the captain's quarters, go tell Aurora a thing or two.
You
Well,
want to
you can
roleplay
knock
that?
on the quarters, except I'm in the bridge.
Oh, well, yeah, wherever you are. I thought he said that you were in the quarters.
She gets around, so she's on the bridge.
She's just running around like a chicken with her head cut off.
Put her address there with everybody else in the room.
Yeah. So I'm fine with her and everyone else in the room hearing. I'm just gonna say, hey, I got him strapped in. Hey, did you give her all the other stuff from him?
And Zach, yeah, he shakes his head.
Okay. Then I'm gonna ask if there's anything on the data pad worthwhile. And he was uttering some kind of gibberish as he was coming in and out, but he's out cold now.
Gibberish about what?
I don't know. He was just talking about the guy who's got the bounty on me. So I don't know. He might have a part to play in him getting blasted. So we need to keep our eyes out. They may be after me still.
Well, there's definitely some stuff on here, but you're better with computers. Can you tear apart this data pad and get everything off of it?
On it, boss. Wow, that's weird to say. And he's just gonna grab the data pad and sit at the desk, and start plugging away at it. Do I need to do a computers check?
Not right now.
Okay.
You're going through the data pad just like Zad did. You're not seeing anything that majorly stands out to you. You know that this guy was a mercenary. You know that he's got contacts on this data pad, people you don't recognize, records that you don't recognize, funds.
Can I say
information about his own ship that was just destroyed? That sort of thing.
I'm going to try and copy as much of the juicy information like that either to my personal memory, if I can do that since I'm an Android, or at least put it on a thumb drive for my data pad and copy it all. Have my own.
I think you have like a photographic memory as an Android. I think so. Like you're probably good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just copy everything because I'm gonna use that later.
Fair. And then if you guys have nothing else you want to address right now, we'll continue on through the drift.
Let's go.
Awesome. So some days go by, small talk, that sort of thing. Maybe a couple memories of Geary. You're new traveling companions all seem unconscious for the most part. Even Sedona, who's still recovering. Everybody's recovering.
I probably would have talked to our. All right, now how do you say his name again? Our new bug friend. It's
Zat.
Zat. Okay, I probably would have talked to Zat sometime just afterwards because he's doing all these crew functions and we haven't really said more than 2 words to this guy.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to have that conversation or?
I guess I probably would have questioned like, hey, if you don't mind helping us with a ship and that, since we rescued you, hey, where are we dropping you off? And any real plans? Like question mark? Like try and feel him out because obviously I don't know squat about this guy and I'm worried anyone's out to shoot me in the head.
He just looks at you, and he responds to helping out, obviously, because he's done stuff. And then he's like, wherever y'all land.
Okay, that simplifies thing because even I don't know where we're going now. That's the captain's job.
Like he just wanted out of the prison. He doesn't care where y'all are going.
Well, we're headed back to that main outpost. That might be a good place for him. That big trading hub.
And that trading hub is coming into focus. You guys are pretty close. And if you got nothing else, we'll go ahead and arrive there. And just as you did before, you guys will fly into Outpost Z. You'll land the ship. You will begin your escorting of these prisoners off the ship and to go find Talmrin, where you had last left off, around that room with all the pipes that came through. You'll see your friend Hashashir, the guy who was translating for you all with the disease.
Mhm.
You don't need him to translate for Talmrin because Talmrin speaks Common. So you guys get in there, the 4 of you, right? And the 3 prisoners, Sedona is also with you. You still have Victus laid out on the ship. He's just like comatose right now. And you see Talmrin. You do your little tappy tap on the pipes, and Talmrin comes out, and she's excited to see you, and she says, "Oh, my friends, how doth thou fare?"
Not good. You're lucky we're back.
Lucky. What has transpired?
Notice who here and who's not here.
Yes, your cute little friend.
I hope these prisoners were worth it. The cost was too heavy.
That is a tragedy. Truly. Talmrin seems really sincere with this as she comes out of the pipe and lands on the ground by you guys. She's like, "I'm terribly sorry for your loss, but I believe an award was owed." And she reaches into one of the nearby pipes and pulls out a purse, and she says, I don't believe that this will help in any way to soften the blow, the loss of a companion, but it is payment for a job done." And she hands you a cred stick. So each of you get 1,000 credits a piece.
If I overheard right, we got 1,000 earlier from the other miscellaneous things, or we haven't sold that stuff yet.
You can consider it your money now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's 5,000 to split among the 4 of you.
5.
Right?
5.
That's what I said.
No,
5 of you.
5,000 to split amongst the 5 of us.
You're not even in the party yet.
Yet. I'm still a player, damn it.
That's true. Do what you want with that money. Jeremy is still a player.
I'm just going to claim the 2,000.
It's 1,000 credits a piece, basically.
Or 1,250. Wait, yeah.
I wouldn't steal from Geary. I'd let Aurora handle it.
Oh yeah.
It's $12.50 a piece, guys.
It's how are you guys getting 1,250?
That's divided by 4.
5,000 divided by 4 is 1,250 credits.
So you're not giving Jeremy his cut?
Far we know, he's gone. Sorry, we're not going to pay the dead. I mean, I love you. I've dyed my hair pink. What more do you want?
Okay. All right. It all comes together in the end.
We can spot him money later.
I'm sorry that our party is greedy, Jeremy.
Hey, when he comes back, he's gonna get a hell of a party if he comes back.
Talmor
But
takes
just so
three
you know, I
prisoners
stole 350 credits from him just because of being greedy to you.
Well, you stole it from Victor.
Yeah, I mean-
I could have been.
I don't
So-
care about Victor's money.
So Talmor goes over to the three prisoners and she says something to them and they leave the area. They're going to go get situated in this place. And she looks back at you all and she says, "It seems as though you all may need some help going forward. I don't know what your plans are, but I'd like to introduce you to someone." And she walks over to the pipe, does a little tappy tap tap, different type of tap. And this old, decrepit looking, one-eyed Gossclaw comes crawling out of the pipe, and as he stands up, he puts a cane down and he looks at you guys, and she says, "This is Captain Hotclaw, Cappy to his friends." Jeremy, what does he sound like?
Hang up, Jeremy. I'm sorry. It's Buck from Ice Age.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Buck, only way more unable to move around so well.
Oh God.
Yeah. He's a little portly too,
He's got a little jub going on at the bottom of his long frame.
and he leans back. It looks to me that you folks here needed some companionship. I can provide that.
My guy's gonna look down at his groin, look around at him, and say, "No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need companionship."
No,
Zach
hold on.
has no money for companionship.
Yeah, with him.
He gestures behind him, and you see, another Gossclaw, dressed in, tight-fitting leather, leather straps, and he looks kind of downcast to the floor. He says, "No, my nephew back here. But I'll tell you, you pay me some money, my nephew here come work for you. He's awful strong. He's good. You can depend on him."
Work for us. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's different.
What
Whew.
you pay me 2,000 gold or 2,000 credits. We'll sign this contract, no questions asked, and he comes back to me upon your death. That's it. That's all I worry about.
Doesn't that
Upon
mean
our
he's gonna
death.
die too? So that means we lose our deposit if he dies, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think that's something you got to worry about.
How old is this nephew of yours?
15, which is well above the legal adventuring age for my race.
Anyone who comes on our ship will be paid individually.
No. You don't worry about giving him money. His money comes to me. I'm what you call his manager.
He's a pimp.
And the younger one comes up, and he said, "Uncle, are you trying to sell me again? It's not right. You can't do this all the time. Now you shut up. Now you folks gonna pay me for him or not?"
I'm gonna look over the kid and be like, "Are you being sold as a slave without your acknowledgement there?"
I mean, he's my captain. And my mother's brother, so I have to do what he says. But yeah, sometimes he rents me out to other ships, and I do their jobs, and I come back, when it inevitably goes south. You notice he's got a bunch of scars all over him. Yeah, K2, you'd be able to detect like, some cybernetic parts. Like his eye doesn't look, biological.
And at this point, K2 is starting to get pissed. So much so that he's going to pull out that trident from those group of people that we whooped their asses a long time ago. Remember the guys that were, what were they, guards or whatever that everyone here was afraid of?
I forgot you got a trident.
Me too.
I'm gonna give K2 a sideways glance and kind of do a slight hand motion of like simmer.
I'll just grab the staff and power it on and put it, kind of like stab it down and look at the old man, then look at the younger guy. Like, really?
Yeah.
What would
Josh.
you say what would you say that kid's bulk is?
110 pounds himself, about 6 foot tall. And he's what is that?
He's a little gangly thing.
He's roughly 10 bulk, I think.
He's 6 feet tall. They get that
No.
tall?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'd
I'd imagine him like 3 feet tall. All right.
Yeah. But or no, how many pounds is a bulk? Is it 10 or 50?
I don't know. You're
But-
asking at a bad time. We need to wrap it up though. So where are we going from here?
Yeah.
Look, I'm willing to pay you a one-time staffing fee, but his wages go to him. And if he chooses to send them home to you, that's his business.
He grins a really greasy toothed grin. And he says, "Now that's what I can call a deal, sweetheart."
You should have made him your character. He sounds awesome.
Put it this way. I want to right now beat the guy's face in, steal his money, and then usher the kid away from him.
So what's the one-time fee going to be?
200.
Yeah. He looks at Joss and he says, "When this goes bottom up, you come back home. Remember who takes care of you." And he'll take your creds and slip back into the shadows.
I'm going to look at the kid and be like, we're going to have a discussion later.
Yes, thank you. I'll talk to you about whatever you please, sir.
Okay, so
You
now
don't
I'm
need
curious.
to fear us, kid.
I'll shut off the spear.
He says,
I
are you my new captain?" He's looking at Aurora.
I am the captain of this ship. And if you want to still come with us and you want to help out, you're welcome to come help out. If you want to go around this space station and find another line of work, that's all on you. But you've got an out. And you've got an in. You get to decide.
Does
And-
that conversation happen in front of Zat?
Yep.
Did you look to him and offer him the same?
I certainly could.
I'll look at Zat and be like, Zat, you want to come along in this hodgepodge, or you got something better to do? Because we might need to look after this kid, and you seem pretty capable.
For money?
I could do what I can. I don't know what all we got left in the extra funds, Captain.
I was
Do
thinking
you keep,
from Zat's perspective, like you got busted out of prison, got a ride back to this space station, handed just over 1,000 creds.
I don't need anything. Before Devin said that, I was gonna get Zach to look at him and wave, and then just walk off.
Yeah, I was wondering where his mind was for a second there. But like, if he's not motivated by money, maybe he'll be motivated by the fact that you guys are out to stop the Aslanti from destroying the universe.
I mean, that's gonna follow y'all around as long as you're on the space station because he has nowhere to be and nothing to do. So, I mean,
That's fair. That's fair because the next
And-
stop that you guys are going to make is back to Sedona if you're ready to move that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you never know. Like conversations might come up that will process his mind.
Yeah. So what's happening right now with your ship is that it's being upgraded. You guys would be moving to a tier 5 ship right now.
Ooh, we
We're
level
not
up.
gonna dig into that too much because, like I said, we're not doing space combat. But you guys have some time on the space station right now. You're not really sure what you need to be doing next. So you're gonna have to go see Sedona and see what she thinks. Maybe she's done recharging now. Maybe she's up and around. So you head back that way, Zat in tow, because like you said, he has nothing else to do. And he arrives. You arrive back where Sedona is. She's sleeping on the captain's bed. So now she's up and around the ship, and she greets you. She greets you all. And do you want to ask her anything specifically?
Are you fully recovered? Do you have your memories?
Not all of them. No. I feel some things are missing. She says, I can't thank you enough for what you did for me. Flying all the way into Aslanti space and breaking into a highly secured prison moon. God knows what else just to rescue this old shell. I'm
And
humbled.
as soon as you get done saying that, Zat says, "You're welcome."
She
We
looks at him
saved
and
him
smiles.
too.
She goes, I'm truly humbled. But our tasks are not complete. She brushes a strand of hair from her eyes, and she looks at Zat and she looks at the rest of you guys and says, surely by now you've learned about the existence of the rune drive, and I've had a chance to examine the device up close for a short time, but I was unable to sense only an inkling of its power. Should the Aslanti Star Empire gain full control over this technology and learn how to travel vast interstellar distances without the use of drift engines, then all systems everywhere will fall under their shadow. The Pact Worlds, the Hive Mind, everything will fall under their shadow. We must do whatever it takes to retrieve or destroy this rune drive. Are you with me in this?
Yeah.
Are you?
Who knows? Maybe there's more pink worms that need let out.
Do we have to give an answer now?
I'm gonna look at her and look at the captain.
And don't
just
talk
be
about
like,
Barbara like that.
You knew her name?
Almost done.
Yes, that's her name now.
You don't have to answer now if you don't want to, but I'd like to hear the answers from the people who are involved.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna look at the captain and be like, well, I'm gonna follow you because if I don't, I'm going back to prison. So I'd rather not be there, and shooting things out here isn't so bad.
Aurora, you're in?
Dar's in. Always for the venture.
Okay.
They took Geary and they're disrespecting life massively across the universe. Yeah, I'm in.
Sedona smiles at each of you. She looks at Zat and sees that he's unsure. And she says, take your time.
Joss looks at her and looks back at Aurora and says, yes, I will be at your service, ma'am. If my captain wills it, my blade is yours. And he pulls out a sword that, to everybody else looks like it's just like a stone kind of katana. He says, my sword will be at your service, ma'am.
I appreciate you.
I give him a little satisfied nod.
He smiles. Yay.
His eyes catch detect magic.
On the sword?
No, my nod is not magic.
All right.
I mean, he's curious
By
why
the
this
way,
dude's going into a fight
Can
with a
I
stone.
safely
So,
presume that we've all drunk our
detect magic.
potions that have changed us back to who we are?
Yeah, of course. If that's what
Okay.
you want. Yeah. Gary wanted to stay that way for as long as he could, but you guys could.
Because that
Gary
widow's
gave
peak was
his
really
potion
itchy.
to Zat.
That's true.
So Zat
Okay,
has
so-
the potion.
So, Sedona's just laid it before you and said, we're not sure what the next move is just yet. I want to know who's still on this team and who's going to press on. I understand if you want to leave. 4 of you have confirmed that you want to fight on. Zat is undecided. And with that, we're going to end right here. And you have actually all leveled up. So you should all be at 5. And with that, we'll say goodnight to the recording.
Good night, recording.
Night.